I never liked the way the book club looked at me. Not really. There was something in the way Linda's perfect lips would curve as she poured white wine, about how Chelsea rolled her eyes every time I mentioned my job, even as she laughed. It seemed harmless at first, before we started reading thrillers, before the Friday after the storm. That night, the lamps glowed honey yellow, shadows flickering against the walls, in my living room. Outside, the cul-de-sac was silent, everyone inside, hiding from the wind and rain. The girls gathered, clutching their copies of the latest suspense novel, The Power Flickered. Linda made a joke about our creepy little book club in the dark. They looked at me for approval. They always did, waiting for my approval, pretending they didn't. I poured the wine generously, lips smiling, hands steady. We talked about the book's antagonist, a man who watched his victims from the shadows before striking. Susan said, too loudly, "If you want to get away with something, just blame it on a guy like that." Everyone laughed. They didn't see how their laughter pressed on my chest, like a cough. I couldn't dislodge. Thunder shook the windows. I suggested a game, what we'd do if we were being stalked. The women giggled, giddy and nervous. Jen checked her phone. No service. Susan said, we'd have to stick together, but their eyes said, I'd be the first suspect if anything ever happened. When Linda reached for more wine, she found the bottle empty. They hadn't noticed me slip into the kitchen, hadn't seen what I'd done. I felt the room grow still as I returned with a tray of little cakes. They ate, and as the minutes crawled by one, they began to raise trembling hands to their throats. Someone collapsed. Chelsea, I think. Panic broke the silence, voices mingling into a desperate chorus. I stood over them, the lightning flashing across my face, and I felt a calm I'd never known. It was quiet, at last. When the police came days later, I sat on my sofa, eyes red, shivering. I told them about the stalker from our book. I described his face in vivid detail, how I'd seen his figure through the blinds, how I'd warned the others to lock the doors. The officers nodded, eyes glancing over the shattered glass I'd staged, the footprints I'd made in the mud, the panic trembling in my hands. Sometimes I hear laughter echo across the empty living room. Late at night, I catch glimpses of shadows in the periphery. I wonder, some nights, as I watch rain stripe the windows, if I conjured something real when I lied, if I invited something in, some shadow that watches me now, as I once watched them. Each click of the floorboards reminds me, a story repeated long enough becomes real, even to its teller. Someone out there knows what I've done, and when I hear footsteps outside my window, or laughter that isn't mine, I hold my breath, listening, waiting for the story to begin again.